Hello everybody, welcome back to the stream. How are you all doing? So before we get into the fun stuff that we'll be doing today, I want to remind everyone that Gunforged is available for sale. And it's actually on sale for the Steam, the summer sale. So you can get it for 50% off right now. So definitely give it a look if you're interested in supporting me or if you're interested in 2D roguelite shooters. I think that you'll enjoy it if you're a fan of this genre. It should be a good amount of fun. I also have my Udemy courses available for sale. This is the 2D Survivors course. So again, you can purchase these. This greatly supports me, but also this is going to kickstart your Godot learning journey. These courses are comprehensive. They basically touch on every part that you need to know to make a 2D game. So I'm talking UI plus UI theming, composition-based patterns for creating your entities and gameplay logic, saving and loading. Like basically the whole thing here is included in the course. So yeah, if you're interested in that, please check that out. And I do have another course coming out soon, the online cooperative multiplayer course that I've been working on. So if you'd rather wait for that, hit the notification bell to be notified when the announcement video goes live. And yeah, that's it for ads. Okay, we're done with ads. Very nice. So yesterday we were working on this artifact and dig site here, which is looking pretty good if I do say so myself. So the final thing to do really with this is to get the artifact selection actually working. And then, yeah, we'll see how that goes. But yeah, here we go. We got these things here. And what else is there to say? Yeah, I think that's it. So there is some refactoring that I want to do though, just generally speaking for these events. I am getting very... I just think that I need a better way of setting up these events because every time I need to like specify control areas for handling the mouse events and everything. So we might do a little bit of refactoring, but probably what I'll do first is I'll get this working the way that it should be working, and then we'll do any necessary refactoring to make this a little bit of a nicer experience for me. I don't think I need this anymore. Yeah, I'm just going to clean some of this out real quick. I'm going to rename this to tooltip control. And this, let me think. That's set to ignore. Okay, could. All right. We are good to go. Cool. All right, so what am I doing? What am I doing? Okay, anyway. Hello, Exio. Welcome back. Good to see you as always. Kelso, welcome. Monkey Software, hello to you. Good morning, Lukey. Got the GD script course and it's good, comprehensive. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I'm glad you're enjoying it. End of year seems probable given how much time you put into this. I sure hope so. I really don't want to get into another situation where I'm working on a game for 4 years. I mean, this game, you know, barring any like really bad design issues, it should be doable. You know, I mean, the game, the core systems are basically in place. Obviously, there's going to be a lot more maturation of those core systems, but a lot of it from this point onward is just going to be stuffing the game full of interesting stuff, I think. I don't know, maybe I'll eat those words at some point, but I can see the path at least. I guess that's what I'm saying. I can see the path. So let's get these working. So the first thing that I'll do is let's get the click working here. So shoot, let me think. Let me think. Pillar control, so on pillar GUI input, we're getting the index here. So let's do, are these all public here? Yes. Okay, so let's do private void select artifact. int index is mouse input disabled equals true. We'll do select artifact index in here. No, I don't want the rest of that. Okay. So the pillars need to go out now. One problem that I'm going to end up with is I could potentially select a pillar. Oh, I'll just do this. Never mind. I was going to say I could potentially select a pillar while the other pillars are still animating, but if I just change this if, the mouse input is only going to be enabled after the last pillar tween finishes. So that's actually better. Okay, so that avoids that problem. So in select artifact, well, the first thing I need to do is I need to do this dot get artifact manager dot add artifact artifacts index. Does that work? Emit signal artifact added. So, okay. So I'm going to probably want to animate that artifact, but let's just do that for now. This artifact sprite probably index probably just needs to have its visibility set to false. Okay. The other artifact sprites, so for each var artifact sprite in artifact sprites, if artifact sprite is equal to artifact sprites index continue, then what we want to do in here is we want to do visual utilities dot fade out artifact sprite. I keep doing this. I need this to be a for loop. Make for loop. Thank you. If I equals index continue, var delay equals 0f, delay plus equals 0.2. Let's put the delay in here. Okay, and then we need to get the pillars out. Var tween is equal to, well, let's do this. I will create a play out method. Yeah, let's do that. Private void play out. This is where we're going to coordinate everything going away. So let's just copy this. What are you doing? No. So index equals I, pillar tween, create tween, pillar delay. Pillar dot visible. That can go away. Actually, this needs to be reversed. So this needs to go out this way. Pillar dot visible equals false. Oh wait, no. What am I doing? Everything needs to fade out. So this is actually going to be completely different. I was going to just animate the pillars back down to the ground, but I think they actually need to fade out. So how's that going to work? Pillar 1 root. So this actually needs to, yeah, these need to be assigned to the canvas group fade out material. Let me think. I'm probably going to need to export that now. Really, I should add this to my visual utilities. So I should probably refactor. So let me think. Let me just add some to-do messages in here. So to-do, add methods to visual utilities to outline and fade out canvas groups. Do I already have that? Maybe I already have that. Visual utilities. Yeah. I already have this fade out. The problem is that the fade out is checking that the material is the fade out material I'm using. I think what I'd rather do is if I call fade out on something, it should just forcibly assign the material that I need it to have. Is that going to be a problem though? I don't think so. I don't think that's going to be a problem because whenever I call fade out, I'm just throwing an exception if it can't fade it out. So this is going to be functionally equivalent basically if I just force it to have the material that it needs. I think that's what I'll do. I just need to make this tooling a little bit nicer for myself, that's all. Anyway, that's probably not super important right now, but that's all right. So artifact event container. So I don't need this. Do I need this? Shoot. The problem is if I'm going to refactor that anyway, anything that I do with respect to the fade out here is just going to be wasted effort. So maybe I should do that. Interesting. I finished your GDScript course and I'm about halfway through your C# course, but I find C# and Godot feel so clunky. Do you use it as a preference or do you see a noticeable performance boost? Yeah, it's just a personal preference. I'm not using it for performance reasons, no. But yeah, C# is generally very verbose, much more verbose than GDScript. So that may be why it feels clunky. Also, it feels clunky because, you know, there's a compilation time that needs to happen when you run the game, whereas GDScript is a lot more instant. It's only clunky because you're used to GDScript, which is designed with the engine, so it's very integrated. Yeah, that's true as well. It's game dev once again, yes indeed. Perfect Saturday setup here, everyone, yes indeed. Welcome Artem and welcome back Jackie Daytona as well. I've been programming with C# for years. GDScript just feels refreshing in some weird way. The integration is def part of it, I'm sure. Yeah, I think that's, I can see why you would feel that for sure. GDScript does feel very fun to write, for sure. Hello, Ryan. Welcome. Good morning to you as well. Okay, so I think what I need to do is I'm going to make some changes here. So visual utilities. So I've got a scene in here. We've got this fade group component. Am I actually using that? Fade group. So I'm going to export some things here. Export private fade out material, export private canvas group fade out material, export private material, canvas group outline material. Okay, so I want to add public static void outline canvas group. Let's do this instead. Do I have a regular outline material? I do. So let's do an outline here. Let's take in a node. Or I think I can probably just do a canvas item instead. Canvas item. If canvas item is canvas group outline material, else canvas item dot materials equal to instance dot. I need the normal outline material, so let's do export private material outline material. Okay. Then in here, in this fade out here, let's change this to a canvas item. Canvas group is a canvas item, right? Yeah. Let's get rid of this system exception. This is no longer necessary. So we'll check the canvas group first. Did I spell this wrong? Anyway. Canvas group dot material is equal to instance dot canvas group fade out material. Oh, here's the problem. Otherwise, we're going to do canvas item dot material is equal to instance dot fade out material. I think I need to duplicate this actually. Okay, so var fade out material is equal to that. Canvas item dot material is equal to fade out material. Okay, cool. Then I'm going to want to do that in here too. Okay, I think that's correct. And then for the outline, this, I don't think I need to duplicate this because it's not going to be animated. Like the outline material properties are not going to change. So I can just use that by reference. I think I'm probably going to want to do the same with the fade in here. Play fade in. Let's change this to a canvas item. Canvas item. Get rid of this. Play fade in. Okay, so that's a little bit better, I think. Oh, goodness. So this fade in should be probably grouped up here with this fade out, and then we've got the outline here. Okay, very nice. So now this is going to make my life a lot easier because now I don't need this outline material either. And what I can do is I can do this. Visual utilities dot outline pillars index. So that becomes a lot easier there. And then what I was doing that all for is in this play out, for each var pillar in pillars, I'm going to say visual utilities dot fade out pillar. Okay, and then in here we're going to call select artifact. Actually, you know what I should do? Yeah, this is wrong. Let me think. I need to change this. Let's do a signal instead. Signal public delegate void artifact selected int artifact index. Oops. This needs to be event handler. I think I will keep this in here, but instead I'm going to do emit signal artifact selected index. What are you doing? This AI. Then in the artifact event state machine, what I need to do in here is artifact container dot artifact selected plus equals on artifact selected. Private void on artifact selected. This is where I'm going to do all of the logic for adding the artifact, but we'll not worry about that just yet. For now, what I'm going to do is we enter this state cleanup. We're going to do artifact container.playout, and this needs to be public. And this is going to have to be an asynchronous operation as well. That returns a task. We will just discard that for now. We're going to do await. This needs to be async void. Okay, I think that's fine. I think that's fine. Emit signal finished, yeah. So on artifact selected, we are going to transition to that cleanup state there. What? Okay. What do you prefer about C#, or is it mostly familiarity? It's just the structure that I get. Better type system, abstract classes, interfaces, structs, although I don't use structs very often, but you know, all that kind of good stuff. You get things, very handy things like extension methods and operator overloading and all that kind of good stuff. So, and of course you get NuGet as well. You can use NuGet packages. Hello, Real Crudo, welcome back. Breath of Death. Deal X damage to the enemy at the beginning of combat. That's an interesting one too, yeah. I like that one. Balato, welcome back. Man, I kind of miss C#. So hard for me to use C# and Godot because it feels like an afterthought in the engine. Yeah, I mean, I never really did much C# professionally, so I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know what the differences are really, but... So, await... task dot when all. Let's just do this then. This is an array of tasks. Let's do list task pending tasks is equal to new list. Pending tasks dot add that. Task.when all pending tasks. Can I just put that in there? Very nice. Okay. Let's see if I did everything correctly, I suppose. So I'm just going to run this as its own thing. And we'll see if my visual utilities changes have worked. So let's see. All of that's wrong. That's great. Null reference exception. Instance.fade. Oh, I didn't, yeah, I need to go to my visual utilities here. I need to assign those things. So let's do fade out material there. Outline material there. Why did I call this overlay material? That's okay. Canvas group outline material, and then canvas group. I'm gonna rename this. Rename this. Canvas group fade, highlight. Rename this. Where is this being used? View owners. Okay. Okay. So now I've got my visual utilities hooked up. That's gonna help me a lot, I think. There we go. And it's not working. Why did that break? Oh, this needs to be pillar canvas groups. I'm doing well, thank you, Real Cruda. How are you? I feel like GDScript has been easier to learn for me. Don't know how to explain it. I would say it's easier to learn, yeah. Perfect. And then I click those. Excellent. Excellent. Okay, let's see what happens when I go in game. For every empty tile on the player board, each time damage is dealt, increase. Ooh, that's a good one. For empty tile on the player board, each time damage is dealt, increase by X stat or do X action. I need to think about what I'm going to do with respect to board tiles, because I do like the idea of buffing certain cells or tiles in the board, and maybe just like, you know, if you have an artifact that just provides a passive buff to the card that is touching that cell, I definitely want to think about a system like that, but I don't want to do anything with respect to like what you suggested, Lukey, yet until I figure out what I'm doing with that kind of system. But it is a good idea, for sure. So let's see if this works. So boom, fade out, noise. Now, why is that not working? You know what I probably should do? I should make these pillar canvas groups. So this is already looking much nicer. I can just use my visual utilities now to do my various fade in and outlines and stuff. That's gonna make my work a lot easier. So I do this, and it didn't work because I need to go into here. Artifact. Okay, very nice. So I am getting a little bit of a problem in here. But that's okay. Let me think. Well, let's just get it working and then we'll figure out the details in a second. I love the font you use in this, but I can't find it anywhere. The font, it's called, let's see. I'm using Soft Square and is it Grandeur? I'm actually using 3 different fonts, but Grandeur and Soft Square are the ones that I'm using. I think these are public domain, if I'm not mistaken. And I am using this Voice 7H. I should probably get my fonts in order. I don't know if I should be using, you know, 3 different fonts. So we need to fade out some more stuff too. Pending task.add visual utilities.fadeout ruins. Pending task.add visual utilities fade out whole background. Visual utilities fade out whole foreground. Pending tasks.add visual utilities that fade out. I can't do mound group unless... Actually, what I could do is if I have mound group here, I can tell these to use the parent material, and then I can fade out that entire group by itself. Very nice. Okay, let's see what that does. Today's a good day. Awesome, glad to hear that. Would be cool for sure. I think 1 font is enough and you're over here using all the fonts. Well, I think 2 fonts. You need like a header font and a body font. But the problem is that, so like here, header font, which is a little bit more stylistic, but then the body font, which is just for, you know, readable description text. But neither of these fonts look good for the damage numbers, and so I'm using the Voice 7H for the damage numbers. So I may actually need 3 fonts, or I just need to find a different font that works in both cases, but sweet, that's working great. This is becoming a lot simpler now. I might go back and redo my other screens with that new visual utility stuff that I've written, but So this needs to be made actually functional now. I should probably check that other events are working, but oh well. We're getting there though. We're getting there. Oh, I need to use the outline. Am I using the outline anywhere? I am. Okay. Cool. So work on out animation for artifact. Okay, I'm sorry. I know we're very early in the stream, but I really have to go take a break real quick. So time me. I'll be back in like 1 minute. Okay, I'm back. I drank way too much coffee this morning, if you know what I mean. Can I ask where you find your fonts? So usually I go to itch.io. I think a lot of people don't realize that itch.io is a really good place to find all kinds of assets. You can find sound effects on itch.io, and you can find font packs on itch.io. And there are actually several really good fonts and font packs on itch.io that are public domain, which means that you can basically use them for whatever you want without restriction. You can even redistribute them yourself if you want to. So when I do my Udemy courses, I make sure to use like public domain assets, because then that means that I have a legal right to just host those and have people download them, so that, you know, my course is not dependent on like a website staying up, you know what I mean? But also it's just like, when students do my work, or when students go through the courses, they're guaranteed that all the assets they get in the course they could then use if they want to turn the game into a commercial game, right? So yeah, anyway. It's funny, you saw 3 fonts, went to marketing for a college, and 3 fonts was considered the limit. Interesting. Reason being, you want variety for header, subtext, etc., but you don't want to overstimulate the user. Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, my experience with choosing fonts too comes from me being like a SaaS app developer for my career, at least when I was full-time employed. And that was the typical, like, all the designers would say, like, yeah, you basically have 2 fonts. You've got your header font and your paragraph font, right? And you might have, like you said, a 3rd font for maybe captions or something, but typically it's 2 fonts. Having 3 fonts isn't a crime, yeah. The other thing is like stylistic consistency, right? A lot of like making your game look good, a lot that goes into making your game look good is just a matter of being very consistent, right? So that's why I'm fussing a lot about like making sure that the animations are behaving the same, and like the fade outs are behaving the same, and like the colors are being used the same, and the things are being drawn the same. It's like a lot of that stuff is like, you don't want to just do a different animation style for every different encounter, because that's not going to be consistent. It's not going to feel like a coherent experience as well as it could anyway. Hello, Awab, welcome back. Good to see you. I would suggest DaFont. See, the thing about DaFont is that I don't trust it. And the reason I don't trust it is because I don't know if the licenses on DaFont are correct. You know, like you could find a font on there that's like, oh yeah, this font is public domain, but then you come to find out that it was just pirated from some font that is actually, you know, a $70 license or whatever. So you have to be very careful with that. If you want good public domain fonts, again, I would go to itch.io specifically for pixel fonts, or you can go to Google Fonts, because all of the Google fonts they have the appropriate licensing to use in commercial projects. But I would personally, if I was working on a commercial project, I would steer clear of DaFont and other like font hosting sites, because I just don't trust them. But if you're just doing a personal project and you just want to choose a font, like, yeah, DaFont is really good. But like I said, like for commercial purposes, I would be very wary of using any fonts from that site. You're welcome, Real Cruda. Your game doesn't seem to suffer jitter when it moves. Is it because the camera's not moving? Yeah, it's because the camera doesn't move. The jitter comes in when you have a camera that's following a player that's moving around. That's when you really see it. But this game camera, the only time it moves is when the camera shake happens, and that's not really even a camera movement. That's just changing the offset, not the position. I think the jitter is related to when the camera position changes, but I'm not sure. I'm not an expert in that. Hello, cat hugger. Welcome. I love your profile picture. It's so cute. How is you, my friends? My name is what? I'm doing well, thank you. I'm doing well. How are you doing? Good morning, Emerson. Scorpion, turtle, and well, it can be up to you. This could be either like a minotaur or a goat man or just a man, or it could be a weird-looking starfish. I think I'm mostly intending it to be like some kind of mythological monster. But I'm glad you recognize the scorpion, dude. I think probably the best pixel art scorpion you've seen all week, if I do say so myself. Didn't know about that, yeah. Defont is mostly not legal, saying as a designer. That's good to know, yeah. Good to know my wariness of Defont was warranted. Good morning, Schlurgy. Officially made the switch to Godot yesterday. Will be an interesting learning experience. Well, yeah, awesome. Glad to hear that. Feel free to ask any questions you might have about it. The Loch Ness Monster. It could be a Loch Ness Monster. It was a movie reference. Oh, a movie reference. I'm not very cultured when it comes to movies. Sorry. Okay. So I think we're in good shape, generally speaking. The next thing to do is to animate the artifact that gets sent into the artifact display. So here's what I'm going to do first. Let's get it functional. In my artifact state machine here, we change state. So on artifact selected, we're going to do this .get artifact manager .add artifact context . Oh, I need to get the configuration again. Grab this. Configuration .artifacts artifact index. I think that will just work, but let's see. So if I select this one, boom, I get the spider egg up in my artifact here. So we're gonna want to wait for that to play as well. So we need to create a way for the artifact display to animate. This is using the top left corner. I don't think I want to do that. Let's center this. And we'll position it properly. Here, this is going to be easier if I just do this. I think this should be... Configure snap. Oh, why is it 18? Are you kidding me? Oh, wait, maybe it needs to be 18. How big is this? 24 by 24. Okay, let's just do this then. Oh, but the artifact display has a size of 18 by 18. I see. So this is why I have it 18 to 18. Okay. So I just need to make sure that this icon is centered within that. So if I got 24 by 24, there's a difference of 6. So this needs to be... So if it was exactly halfway through, it would be 12 and 12. No. 9 and 9. Oh, is that all I need to do? Okay, I'm overthinking it. Cool. All right, we're done. So the reason I did that is because now the icons are going to be centered, which is in alignment with the artifact here. So these artifacts, I believe, are just centered. Yeah, they're just centered. So what I can do now, since they're both centered, is I can just animate the artifact from this position to its standard position. So what I'm going to want to do is in here, I'm going to create a public void animate from vector2 from position. Why are you doing this, AI? Stop. Okay, so animate from, I probably want to return a task out of here. Async void task. This icon's position is 9, 9. So to make this more appealing, let's put another node 2D here. Actually, I'm going to change this to a marker 2D, animation root, or I don't know, just call it root, I guess. I don't care. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. 9, 9. Put the icon there. So now the icon, again, the reason I'm doing this is so that the standard position where the icon is supposed to be is at 0, 0. And so now animating this icon is going to become a relatively easy task because all I need to do now is I'm just going to say icon.global position is equal to from position here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do a tween. So var tween is equal to create tween. Tween.tween property. We're going to tween the icon node 2D or string rather node 2D dot property name dot position to vector 2.0. We're going to do it over 0.75 seconds. Let's do the currency, earned currency here. I'm going to just copy this transition that I'm using for the blood currency stuff. And then I can do return, or we can do await tween await to signal tween dot signal name dot finished. Okay, so now in my artifact manager, I have this add artifact here. What I probably want to do is artifacts.add image signal. Gee dang it, man. The problem is the artifact manager does not own the UI for the artifact display container or the artifact container. The artifact container connects to that artifact added signal and then adds the display here. So the unfortunate thing is I need a way of knowing where the position comes from. So here's what I'll do. How do I want to do this? How do I want to do this? Interesting. I think the only way to do it is to pass along a from position into here and emit that along with it. So if I do like a vector2 animate from position, I'm going to set this equal to null by default. I'm going to make this nullable. If animated from position is equal to null, we're going to go ahead and emit just the regular artifact added. However, I'm going to create a new signal animated artifact. Added event handler, vector2 from position. Else emit signal animated artifact added. There we go. So the reason I want to do a nullable here is because I don't really want to use what's called like a sentinel value, where basically I just say, oh, if the vector2 is -1000, -1000, that means that it's not supplied. I just don't, vector2s can't be null by default, which means they always have a value, because they're structs, they're not reference types. And so they can't be null by default. And so if you want to know if a vector is unset or not, you either have to make a certain vector2 represent an unset vector2. So you could do like vector2.0 means that the vector2 is not set. Or in C#, I can leverage nullables to very clearly indicate that if this is null, I'm not animating it, right? But the unfortunate thing is I can't pass nullables through signals in Godot. So I'm just going to create two different signals. And that can be a little bit wonky. This might present problems in the future. But I think it'll be fine for now. I'll worry about that in the future. Let me think. Do I want to do it this way? Whatever. I'm already here. Maybe this is not the smartest approach, but it's fine. Because now the problem is I've split the artifact added signal, where if I want to listen for it in another place, I'm going to have to listen to two signals now. So maybe that's not the best way to do it, actually. Let's do this instead. Let's just do bool is animated, vector2 animated from position. We'll just make this a single thing. I can still use the nullable. I'm just not going to split the signals now. Instead, what I'll do is I'll say it's animated if animated from position is not equal to null. And then, yeah, that'll work. Okay, so now in my artifact container, this needs to be a bool and a vector2. What are you doing? How do I get just the... Can I just take... Okay. If is animated, artifact display. I wish I knew how to just take the first line, animate from. The unfortunate thing now is that I can't await that. I was hoping to be able to await that, but that's okay. Okay. I should be focusing on actually getting my game working before I think about fonts. Yeah, true. Judgment scale. Add stats based on each item that occupies more than one slot. That is a very interesting one too. Firebelly Games is streaming. Yes, indeed. Welcome, Soup Noodles. Plague Doctor's Masks. Oh my gosh, I can't talk today. Adds a stat if you have an item that deals poison or an item that heals. Okay, I like that. Why do you write no 2D property name type position instead of position? Just avoids the magic string issue. You know, you typically don't want to write strings everywhere in your code. You want to use symbols whenever possible, and symbols are basically just variables or constants or something. How about ancient fruit that buffs the card for a select amount of time? It's more explicit. Yeah. No, you can use a string, yeah. You can use a string in the C# tween stuff. Nullable types would be useful. I think there was some intention discussion of adding them. That would be useful, yeah, for sure. Okay, so the other problem now, too, is that in my artifact event manager, or event container rather, I need to also emit the signal of the or the position of the artifact sprite. So vector2 animate from position. This is nuts. That's okay. Artifact sprites dot index dot global position, and in here why is this not working? Don't tell me I used system.numerics again. All right, let's see if it works. I don't think it's going to, but let's see. I add the nullable on my C#, so it's explicit if something can be null or not. Adds a lot of clarity. Okay, that needs to wait now. That's the problem. So there needs to be a wait period. So I'll just do that in my artifact event manager. Or artifact event state machine here. I'll make this an async void here. Await get tree. This is going to be a little bit messy, but create timer 0.75f dot timeout. Oh, I need to do to signal. Oh, scene tree timer.signalName.timeout. Okay. Let's see if that works. It's janky, but you know, it works. Whatever. It's fine. So now we should wait until that artifact goes into my artifact place here. I probably actually do want to change the curve for that. Probably invert it, so this should be out instead. All right. I think this will work great. Nice. Yeah, that's working. So there's still a lot of iffiness, funkiness to clean up here. But generally speaking, it's working. Just collect all kinds of artifacts. I have multiple venoms though. I wonder how that works. I actually haven't tested it. If I get multiple venoms. Another spider egg, nice. Did that bug? Did something happen there? Let's see. Oh, it just kills me immediately. That's cool. So I'll have to fix that. Okay, I'll have to fix that. Yeah, we've got our artifacts now being able to be selected. Let me just check something really quick. Yeah, I think it's breaking. It's getting shifted over, probably because it's being added. Let me think. What I probably need to do is... callable.from call deferred. I'm gonna set icon. Oh wait. Well, let's just see if that works. I think the positioning of it in the UI is being changed after it. After it gets selected. So I think this will fix it, hopefully. Yeah, that looks better. Okay. The callable call deferred saves the day again. Okay. That's working great. Now this is a case where I might add a comment. No, I'm not going to do that. Never mind. Okay. So there's still a lot of work to do with this screen. We're almost done, but there's some iffiness going on here. So when a artifact gets selected in the artifact container here, we need to do pillar canvas groups index dot material equals null. Okay. Artifact tooltip dot hide artifact. And I think that's it. Let's see. Oh, you know what? No, that's actually probably going to be fine. Let's see. Let's see what happens. So if I select that, that should go away. I can't select anything else. Cool. And it remains lit. I was going to make it maybe unlit after selecting it, but I think that's fine. There we go. Yeah, I think that's looking good. Okay, so there's still one other, or a couple of other tweaks I want to make to those visuals there, but I think it's working well now. So animate artifact acquisition. Sync those changes there. Out into the cloud they go. Goodbye, changes. Just got into Godot after making games in Unity for a while. Love your code reviews. They're really helpful. Awesome. Thank you, Edvard. Very much appreciate that. And welcome to the stream. Good to see you. Hello, Hollow Fox. I was going to say it looks like it's shifting to the right relative to how many artifacts you have. Yeah, that's exactly what was happening for sure. Is callable to call deferred considered a hack? Also, hi, Hollow Fox, welcome, welcome. Is it considered a hack? Well, there are some cases where you have to do that. So for instance, you will get an error sometimes in Godot about changing state while flushing physics queries, right? And that typically happens if you're in an on area entered callback or on body entered callback of an area 2D, and you try to add or remove something from the scene tree that has a physics shape or a physics collision associated with it, like an area 2D. If you try to do that within the callback, you'll actually get an error that says, hey, you shouldn't do this while the physics context is basically running. So in that case, you actually have to call deferred to get around that error. There's no other way to do it. So sometimes it is very useful. In the case of using it to avoid like layout issues or layouts not being up to date, I'm sure there is a better way to do it, especially with relation to control nodes, because there are various signals that you can use to determine like when the size of something has changed or when the position of something has changed. But that can be finicky in its own right as well. So it's easier just to say, hey, wait until the idle frame to do this operation, because then I'll be guaranteed that all of the UI positioning has been done by that point. So it's kind of like the situation that I was just in with respect to the artifact being shifted over to the right when I click on it. There's no real like proper way to fix that. I basically just have to do the animation after the UI layout is finished, and doing call deferred is one way to do that. So yeah. Is the pillars done through tweens? Yes, everything on that screen is done through a tween. I do like to commit, that's true. Take pleasure in simple stuff. Yep, committing is one of those great feelings for sure. Okay, so there's a couple of other things I want to do still. I do want to add a little bit of screen shake when the pillars come in, and probably some particles as well. So particles like of them coming out of the ground. Why is that working? I think the mouse input should be disabled by default. Is that not the case? Oh, it's not disabled by default. Interesting. We'll disable it by default. I think that was an issue that should now be fixed. Now, one problem I have with this system is that, and I can probably fix this with a refactor that I want to do in the second half of the stream here, but if I have my mouse over a clickable area that is not clickable for the time being, and then it becomes clickable, it doesn't highlight. And so that means I have to actually move my mouse to get the highlight to work. So let me see if I can replicate that again. I guess I didn't need to close that game, but here we go. So if I do this, see how this should be clickable now, but my mouse has not been detected as being in here. I have to leave that and then go back in. So it's a very awkward thing. The only way to get around that really is to detect when the mouse input changes and then force check and update. So I'd basically have to go to these controls here. So like this pillar 2 control, this middle one, and I'd have to check if the mouse position is within the bounding rectangle and then force a manual like on mouse entered in here. I think that's the only way to get around that. But with the refactor that I want to do, I'm going to pull out some common functionality. I think that will be doable. So I'm just going to need to, yeah, I think, yeah, I'm just going to have to figure that out. Committing is like getting to a checkpoint in a game. Pure relief, especially after a hard section. True. Trivial. It's not trivial. It's not, these little UX things can create friction, which is bad. Okay. So, but anyway, I'm going to do the particles and the screen shake for these pillars as well when I come back. So I'm going to take a quick 3-minute break, and we'll do those things in just a bit. Okay, BRB. All right, let's do some particles. How am I going to do this? I guess we'll just put it, we can't actually, I think I need to put them here. Fixed FPS 0, interpolate off. The highlight issue not updating was my first issue when learning Godot, and I didn't even know how to fix it. I think I ended up using process to check the mouse every frame. I've definitely done stuff like that too. That's a totally fine way to fix it in my opinion. Hello Rin, welcome back. Good to see you. Welcome, welcome. All right, so let's do this now. New process material. Canvas item material particles animation. Drop that there. Where's my texture? Where's my texture? Oh, here. Quick load. Particles.png. Nope. Particles. We'll just try these. Okay, sphere. Make them go up. The lifetime needs to be way lower. Okay. Very nice. Okay. What am I doing? Scale, min, max. There we go. Curve texture. Where's my lifetime randomness? Oh, I need a color ramp too. I'm gonna try something. Interpolation cubic. Nope, interpolation constant. This color here. I'm gonna make that the dark color, the black color. And then this color here will make it purple. Oops. I kind of wonder how that's gonna look in the engine, or in when the game is running. Let's see. I may turn this up a little bit. No. We'll do a compromise, 16. Okay. Lifetime randomness, let's do 0.25. And animated, no. Where's my animation? Offset, min, max, 1. Okay. Gotta set the initial angle as well. Okay. I'm just gonna be curious to see what this does. Let's do pillar particles 1. Pillar particles 2. Pillar particles 3. I guess I kind of named this differently, didn't I? Oh well. So in the play in, so in this callable.from, let's make the particles emit in here. Oh, I need to create an array of these things. Oh my gosh, I can't type today. This is painful. Okay, pillar particles. Dot emitting is equal to true. Pillar tween callback, callable.from. Pillar particles index dot emitting equals false. Let's see what that does. Maybe it won't do anything, but we'll see. Okay. I don't really like those dark particles, but maybe they will be fine if I change how frequent they are. Actually, I don't need to go into the game, the whole game. I can just run this scene. I can just run this scene locally and then it will be fine. No, that doesn't look right. Okay, let's do... Shoot, I didn't really want to do this, but let's do this. Open file. Nope, wrong place. Assets, effect. Let's open up these particles, no outline. I'm gonna change these to have an outline. Load default palette. Do that, do that. Okay. Save these as particles, outline, dark. And then I'll put this in here. And then we'll remove this color initial ramp. So that's what it's going to look like now. So we'll see what that does. That might produce a better result or not, but we'll see. Oh. Oh yeah, that looks better. I don't think the spherical emission shape is the proper one to use here. Let's do a box instead. And then we'll change the emission extents to, what was it? 8. And I can probably turn this down actually now. Okay, and then I am going to just change this box Y to something like 4. Okay, I think this will work. Let's find out. I think that's okay. I just need this now. I think the initial velocity needs to be lower. Yeah. Okay, I think that'll be good. I think that looks okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to trigger a camera shake. Game camera.shake. We'll just do like a mild shake. And we'll see if that does anything. Oh, this is not going to work in here because I don't have a game camera in the standalone scene. So I'm going to need to go into the game. So much to do. Ooh, that looks pretty good. I might bump this up just a little bit. 0.6. Yeah, I think it looks fine. Then I select one and then it fades out. Select one, fade out. Very nice. Okay. I think that's looking great. Yeah, I like it. Now with some sound effects, some like chunky rock sliding sound effects, I think it's gonna be A-okay. Very nice. Thank you, Rin. Appreciate that. Yeah, it's going. It's going. It's going. Oh my goodness, it's going. Okay. So now, let me commit what I have. So basically that screen is done. I don't think there's anything else that I want to do in that. So it's finished, done. So that whole process has been documented during the streams. I didn't do any work on that off stream. So the past, what is it, like 4 VODs are all working on that. So if you're interested and you're watching now and you want to see that whole process, definitely consider going back to the VODs and looking at those. Add, what am I doing? Add particles and camera shake. Okay, that's looking really good. So the next thing that I want to do is I was mentioning that I want to do a little bit of refactoring in here. So again, increase or improving my tooling around building these screens so it becomes a little bit easier to do. These controls here, I want to change them. So what I might do, let me think, what do I want to call them? Maybe like an event control or something. I mean, what do I want them to do? They need to get what? So I need on mouse entered, on mouse exited. They also need to have their mouse inputs disabled. And that also needs to be coordinated. Let me look at something like my enchant container. Do I have like a tentacle scene here? Disable input. So basically there's just a couple of things that I want this control to do that I'm going to be refactoring here. So I want it to be able to control some things automatically for me. So like this if is mouse input disabled and so on and so forth, but also being able to highlight or outline something for me. So let's do this. Let's create a new script. Where do I want to put this? Where did I put my pass-through control? In scripts util? Oh, why is that not in UI? I'm going to create a new folder in here. Pass-through control, go into there, move. Oh wait, I can't do that here. I need to do it through the Godot editor. Pass-through control, move, scripts, UI, util, move. Oh, that updated everything, okay. This pass-through control now, game.ui.util. Let's stage all those. Now, where am I referencing that pass-through control? Probably gonna have a bunch of errors here. Oh, no errors, really? I guess that makes sense because I'm never actually referencing it. Okay. Anyway, so I'm gonna create a new, well, I should probably do this. Move pass-through control. So in here, now I'm going to create a new file. This is going to be an event control. Actually, you know what I'll do? I'll call this a clickable control, maybe. That sounds better. Namespace game.ui.util. Global class. Public partial class clickable control. So we've got clicked. We're also going to do signal public delegate void mouse entered event handler, signal public delegate void mouse exited event handler. Okay. GUI input on GUI input. This is going to be, we'll call this EBT. If EBT.isActionPressed, game constants dot action click left. Then we're going to go ahead and we also need to check for now private bool mouse input disabled. Okay. So then mouse entered. Mouse exited. Okay, so then in here, we're going to do emit signal clicked. So now I might create a companion component for managing these things, but the other thing that I want to do is I want to add an export variable in here. Export private canvas item, highlight, let's see, highlight target maybe. So in here, on mouse entered, if highlight target is instance valid, highlight target, then we're going to say visual utilities. I'm going to call this outline target as actually. This is going to be a little bit more consistent. Visual utilities dot outline target. Okay, and then in on mouse exited, I'm definitely going to want to de-highlight that regardless if the mouse input is disabled. So if is instance valid outline target, we're going to say outline target dot material is equal to null. And I actually might pull this out into a separate set of methods in here. Private void highlight, or let's do outline. Private void unoutline. I don't know if that's proper, but that's okay. Okay, so on mouse entered, we're going to call outline. On mouse exited, we're going to call unoutline. Now we need a helper method. Private bool contains mouse. Return get rect, get global rect dot has point, get global mouse position. Okay. So what we're going to do now is I'm actually going to create a public bool for is mouse input disabled. Get, we're going to return is mouse input disabled. Set is mouse input disabled equals value. If is mouse input disabled, this needs to be public. If is mouse input disabled, we're going to do unoutline. Else, if contains mouse, if is mouse input disabled and contains mouse, we're going to do on mouse exited. So we're just going to invoke that on mouse exited. Okay. Else, if is mouse input disabled, I actually think that's going to be, oh wait, this on mouse exited isn't going to work. let's not actually set that value yet. If value and contains mouse on mouse exited, what is going on? We'll set this at the end. Is mouse input disabled equals value. So if value and contains mouse on mouse exited, else if contains mouse on mouse entered, var was disabled equals is mouse input disabled. If was disabled equals value, we'll just do return. We won't do anything. So now we're guaranteed that if we get to this block, that means the value has changed. So if we are disabling it and we contain the mouse, then we're going to do on mouse exited. Otherwise, we're turning it on and it contains the mouse, we're doing on mouse entered. Okay. Cool. I think that's basically it. Not an F1 fan, so it seems. What is F1? Formula One? What I found difficult in Godot or Unity is that you have config in the editor with exports. It feels off not to have config as code. Even worse when it's half-half. For example, movement speed. Because the code even shows a default that is wrong because the editor is overriding it. But it's good for quick testing, specifically for people that don't want to go into the code. Yeah, I mean, I think I wouldn't use export variables for things that are very specific to the scene. So for instance, I wouldn't make a player speed configurable through the editor. I would just make it a constant variable. The only time I would really do export numbers as configs is if I was going to use the scene in multiple different places and I knew that every scene was going to have its own configuration of numbers. In that case, I would set the export values to be sensible defaults, like a sort of like median case or whatever, and then I could edit them to the editor. But yeah, if you have like a player speed, there's no reason to export that through the editor. Just make it a constant in your script and just change the constant value if you want to change the speed. Otherwise, you are going to end up with a situation where you're talking about where like you might have it written as a speed in the code, but then you've overridden it in the editor, or maybe, you know, you've accidentally changed the speed in like your test scene, and so you've been testing in this, but the player's actually slower than you intended in the real game or something. So yeah, I wouldn't use export variables for that kind of configuration, only when you know that you're going to have multiple different instances of the scene with different configurations. That's when I would make them export. Myself anyway. Oh yeah, no, I don't watch any sports at all. Not a fan of watching sports or racing or anything like that. Hello Yeet, welcome back. All the tutorials on YouTube do make it export. Yeah, I mean, the dirty secret about tutorials is that a lot of times the people making the tutorials are not, I mean, I would say it's unreasonable to expect all of the people making tutorials in Godot to be Godot experts. Like a lot of people that make Godot tutorials might not even have like a year of Godot experience. They might have been working with Godot for 3 months and they just go, oh, I want to show people how to do this thing that I learned. But that's going to be, their perspective is going to be different from the perspective of somebody who's made several games in Godot and has kind of like figured out the pitfalls and the best practices. So, good morning, Fox Shadow. Welcome back. Good to see you again. I don't watch sport, a true magic man. Is your Survivor's Udemy course in GD script? Yes, it is. Yep. It is GD script. Same in web dev. It's all easy in a greenfield project where everything is fresh. Now try a 5-year legacy. Yeah, seriously. Definitely true. All right, so we've got this clickable control now, and I think I'm gonna probably need a clickable coordinator maybe. And I might just make this its own node. Namespace game.ui.util global class public partial clickable coordinator as a node. What I want to do is, yes, I want to export an array of clickable controls, and then I'm going to just do this. Public void disable mouse input. Public void enable mouse input. And in here, I'm just going to say for each var control and clickable controls, is mouse input disabled equals true, is mouse input disabled equals false. So this is just going to be like a third node that I use to have a single point where I can just disable all of the clickables or enable all of the clickables. So I'm going to have to add a couple of extra nodes to my tree structure, but I generally think that this is going to be easier to set up. Because what I can do now is I'll use this as a test case here. So we'll just stage those real quick. So these pillar 1, pillar 2, pillar 3, I should be able to simplify quite a bit of this code. So if I do change type and I do a clickable control here, so that's a clickable control now. Let's change this type to clickable control. Let's change this type. Oh, the other thing I want to do is on ready. No, let's do this. I'm going to make this a tool script. Oh, do I want to make it a tool script? I should make this a reference rect type, actually. Yeah, I think I'm going to make it a reference rect. And then I can remove these. So let's change this type to a clickable control. Is this going to work if I remove these reference rects and then I build? I might have to reopen that artifact container. Wrong artifact container. Artifact event container. Son of a bee. Artifact event container, thank you. Oh, that didn't work. Do I need to change these types again? Oh, I just need to change the type again. Okay, change type. So the reason to make these a reference rect is now I can actually see the clickable area in the editor. And I should be able to, let's just build these again. Watching sports is the easiest way to bond with boomers. Well, there are no boomers in my life, so no need for the bonding. That's very funny though. Editor only, border width. Can I turn this to 0? Okay, good. So if I ever wanted to make this invisible, I could just turn this to 0. I could also make this a tool script, but it's fine for now. So there's my pillar 1, pillar 2, and pillar 3. So now I've got these pillar 1, pillar 2, pillar 3 controls. And what I can do is in here, let me just make sure how these are being used. Pillar 1 control. These pillar controls here. On pillar mouse entered. So I'm still going to need to connect to that mouse entered. However, I don't need to check for is mouse input disabled anymore. So I shouldn't need to do any of this, but I do need, one thing I need to do is I need to add my clickable coordinator here. And I'll just put this here. And then I can take these 3 elements here. Well, let's just drag one over. Pillar 2, pillar 3. Okay. So now I can get rid of this is mouse input disabled here. And wherever I'm interested in clickable control, wherever I'm interested in, oh, this needs to be a coordinator. So I can mark this as unique name. So wherever I want to set is mouse input disabled equal to false. So I'm going to set it to true by default. So up here, clickable coordinator dot disable mouse input. So that's automatically just going to disable everything for me. And then in here, I can say clickable coordinator dot enable mouse input. And now I don't need to check any of these things here. and this on pillar GUI input, I don't need to listen for that anymore. What I can do is I can do clicked. Pillar control. Oh, these are clickable controls. Yeah, clickable control, clickable control, clickable control. So in here I can do clicked now. And then I can rename this to on pillar clicked. And I don't have an event, so I don't need to pass the event in there. What? Get rid of this. And now it becomes really easy. Since I'm already handling all that mouse disabled state, I can just listen for this now. And I'm also already going to handle the outline. So I can get rid of this now. So I can just handle my very specific code. In most cases, I actually won't need to override the mouse entered signal because I won't need to do anything other than outline it. So that should hopefully help. And then I don't need to set this material to null either. So that has simplified things quite a lot, but I think where this is going to really shine is when I'm setting up new scenes of this nature, because then I won't have to do so much boilerplate. But now what I can do in the pillar 1 control here is I can assign the outline target here as my pillar 1 root, and then pillar 2 control, let's assign that outline target to pillar 2 root. Pillar 3 control, let's assign the outline target to pillar 3 root. And let's see if it works. Let's see if I did everything correctly. Didn't work. Oh well, I'm gonna delete my project. Anyone want the project? Does anyone want any before I throw it away? What are all those code block templates popping in? Is that new? That's Copilot. Yeah, I've been using Copilot quite a bit to help me with my coding. It's annoying a lot of times, but a lot of times it's really helpful too. I think it's only going to get better. I mean, I've already noticed a lot of improvement since I've been using it for like a month and a half or something. So I think it's good. I bought an entire apple pie only for myself and I can't eat it anymore. My own greed sickens me. Biblical level of greed on my end. We got greed and gluttony at the same time. Oh, and it's not working either. Son of a bee. Are these set to the proper mouse filter? They are. Okay. So why isn't this working? No. Contains mouse. Get global rect.housePoint. Get global mouse position. Okay. I don't know why that's not working. I'll sell it in the App Store and claim it was mine, sure. AI is a great tool for real-time documentation reference. That is true too. Why is this not working? What in the heck, man? All right, you know what time it is. It's debug time. Okay, Launch scene. I have a question. I try to explore a different approach for components using resource. I have execute some basic command like flip sprite, but when call execute pass dictionary with data, I need pass dictionary with data I need for. I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't understand your question, Marcos. I'm sorry. Am I still connecting to something in here? Enable mouse input. Oh. Wait. No, that's right. I don't know what's going on. How do I run SQL queries in VS Code? You can get an extension for it. Assuming you have a database that you can connect to. There's an extension for that. I don't know what the name of the extension is exactly, but hello, Isborn52. Welcome back. Good to see you again. What's the timeline for this project, or is it still proof of concept stage? No, I'm gonna try to have a playable build ready for you in like a month or two, and then hopefully the game will be finished by the end of the year. That's the plan, but we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. The question is, good idea using resource for components. I've never used resources for components. My hunch would be that if you had a purely logical component, then it could be a fine idea. But the problem is that a lot of times components need access to the scene tree. And so if you're using resources for that, you're going to need to pass in a reference to the scene tree that the resource can then use to manipulate the scene tree. But then at that point, you might as well just make your component a node. You know what I mean? But I think if it's a purely logical component, then it can work. The other thing you have to be aware of too is like if your component needs to do input handling. I don't think resources can do input handling. Actually, I know they can't do input handling because they're not in the tree. So, I mean, I just think that for a flexibility and the availability of functionality, I would just stick to nodes. I don't really see a clear benefit of using resources as components over nodes. But that's just my opinion. Why isn't this working? What? What in the heck, man? I wonder if the visual utilities is just not working correctly. Oh, I know what's happening. I think I know what's happening. I think I shadowed. Yeah, I shadowed some things. I think that's what's happening. I don't think that I'm handling this mouse entered here, actually. Maybe I'm not handling this clicked either. Although the clicked is concerning. No, it's not. It's fine. Yeah, I think I just shadowed the built-in mouse entered. I think what I need to do is do hover entered. That's what I need to do. I believe that's the issue. It's one of those things where it's like, you don't get any errors. I'm almost positive that's what the issue was. So now in here, this needs to be hover entered, hover exited. This will hopefully make adding controller support easier too, if I use these things. On pillar hover entered. On pillar hover exited. I think this will work. Let's see. It didn't work, son of a bee. What? Oh, it crashed? How in the world did it crash? What in the heck, man? What is crashing? This is a very, 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 very simple thing. Oh. Oops. I know what I'm doing. I forgot to update the signals too. Gee dang it, Godot. Gee dang it. This needs to be emit signal hover entered. Yeah, I was causing an infinite loop because I was emitting mouse entered, which was handling the on mouse entered. Don't shadow built-in Godot signals in C#, everybody. Don't do it. You're gonna be head scratching for a while. Okay, this should work now. Hello, pseudonym. Last night I worked for hours on screen scrolling. Real pain, lots of glitches. Also, even though I did things exactly the same as my last game, the last game's icon broke. Oh, interesting. The Windows icon you're talking about? I was trying to do some command pattern in my resource that have only one function called execute. Oh, I see. Well, if that's a command pattern, I would say that's different than composition, as I would use the word composition. But if your resource is just a logical container for some behavior, and you're using a different pattern, not necessarily composition, then I think that's okay. I don't know what this means, pseudonym. That pillar animation looks really cool. Thank you. And now it's highlighting. Look at that. Oh, and it's still highlighting. What in the frink, man? What in the heck, man? Oh, am I never disabling the mouse input again? I'm not. So where was I doing that before? Here. So I need to do in here, clickable coordinator dot disable mouse input. No. Clickable coordinator dot disable mouse input. I don't need to set this material to null, I don't think. Yeah. Okay, we're almost there. So once I iron out all the bugs, this is going to be very nice. Okay, that check didn't work. So when it came in and got enabled, it wasn't properly checking my mouse. So let's see now. Let's see, clickable control. Put that there. Launch scene. I don't know how I'm going to test this. How am I going to test this? Can I do this? Can I change this window size? I can't. Son of a bee. Okay. So I've got my mouse over, I don't know if you can see it. I've got my mouse over the pillar. So contains mouse. False. I don't know which clickable control this is. Does it have a name? Pillar 1 control. So pillar 1 control thinks for some reason that contains mouse is false. Get global rect. What does this return? 449.27. Okay. I mean, that seems right. Get global mouse position. 175, 352. Does that change? Oh. It's actually changing. Interesting, so that's not even going to help. Okay, here's what I'll do instead. In contains mouse here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to var rect is equal to get global rect. Oh, but the problem... Right. No, it's probably working. No, it's probably working. The problem is that this is still... If is mouse input disabled. Son of a bee. Okay, I'm gonna have to do this in a slightly weird order. So I don't want to set the mouse input disabled. So if I'm disabling the mouse input, I don't want to disable it until I've called this mouse exited. So what I'll do here is I'll say is mouse input disabled equals value, return. Okay. This is going to be very weird, but I have to do this in a different order. So if contains mouse, so if not value and contains mouse, so if we are enabling it and we contain the mouse, we need to set the mouse input disabled to value first, then do the mouse entered, then return. So it's a little bit weird. I have to do these in an opposite order, but I think that's okay. Okay, that should work now. All right, so now if I do this, boom, now it becomes highlighted as soon as it becomes active if my mouse is over it. And that case should still work where it's being de-highlighted when it becomes disabled. So that's going to be really handy now. It's going to provide a much smoother experience. And now that I've ironed out all the bugs, it's going to be a lot quicker to set up these kinds of scenes with the typical behavior that I'm using or that I'm doing for these events. So yeah, I'm feeling good about that. I'm feeling good, feeling good, feeling good. All right. Oops, I left that message up way too long. I have node call resource that I need for the resource. Oh, I got you. What extensions do you have in VS Code for Godot? I have no Godot related extensions in VS Code. I mean, maybe that's not true. Let me see. I've got Godot.net tools, which I guess generates the debugging files, but that's it. That's the only Godot related extension I have. I've got a lot of weird stuff in here. Do I need mono debug? I don't even know. Copilot file icons, dev containers, Prisma. I love Prisma. VS Code counter. Oh, how do I do this? VS Code counter. Count lines in workspace. Is this including... Oh, this is including add-ons. But 14,000 lines in my script files. Very nice. 14,000 lines of code in this project. Let's go. 248 files. Anyway, that's interesting. Oh no, it put a bunch of freaking results in here. I don't care about those, man. Oh, you know what I could do actually? There we go. Okay, added clickable utilities for event screens. That's looking great. I just got killed by the Rat King and being able to curse the dev live is great. Oh, nice. Hey, have you heard of this little phrase? It's called get good. Just doing this for experimental tests, some limitations. Gotcha. The roller coaster of this stream. Someone else want this game. Someone else want to code this. To feeling good, feeling good. Yeah, seriously. Is that a lot of code? It might be. It's going to easily double or triple by the time the game's done. How do you handle the outline effect, like the artifact and the pillar combined? That is done with a canvas group. So a canvas group will basically take everything that's nested under the canvas group and draw it as like a single texture, you can think of it as, and then you can apply a shader to that texture as a whole. So, yeah, it's just basically like they all get fused as one texture, and then the outline gets applied to that entire thing as one texture. And that's how I achieve that effect. It's very easy. The dev is telling his players to get good. I'm leaving a negative review. No, don't do it. All right, so let's just make sure this still looks good in game and still functions like it should. Very nice. And I can do this, and I can't click anything else. Oh, that's perfect. That's perfect. I love Godot. I love Godot. I love this engine. I love it. I love it. I love it. It's a sick feature. Yeah, it is. It's not, I mean, I think GameMaker did it better. They have something called surfaces. And surfaces in GameMaker are basically like you can set a target texture that you can just draw directly to, and then you can use that texture however you want, which is super useful. It's very, very useful. I wish something like that existed in Godot because there's like very annoying limitations with canvas groups. Like you can't nest canvas groups for one, but you also can't use like masking with the clip, sprite clipping as a descendant of a canvas group. It just doesn't work. So I do wish that it was a little bit more mature, but yeah, it's very good. No, nested canvas groups do not work together, no. Would it be possible to show, if you want, a playthrough? Yes, I can. Hello, Dragon Apple. Welcome, welcome. So are Godot scenes the equivalent of Unity game objects? I think Godot scenes are the equivalent of prefabs, which I think maybe like a game object is an instance of a prefab, if I remember correctly. Okay, so yeah, let's do a playthrough, but first I need to go to my run map generator, and I need to turn off the test map. So yeah, so to close out this stream, I will just say this game is a collectible card game auto battler grid inventory management roguelite with a necromancy, medieval science, and alchemy theme, where the hook of the game is that you can alchemize different cards together to create new, more powerful cards that combine the abilities of both. So let's get started. I'm going to go to this combat first. So we'll show off the auto battler kind of combat here. So this is the enemy board. It has cards that have certain abilities. This villager deals 7 damage and takes 4 turns. So this is basically the amount of time that it takes before it executes that 7 damage. And then the windmill here, it reduces the remaining turns of adjacent minion cards by 2. So this is actually going to accelerate this minion here. But I have my own cards here. So I've got a skeleton that does 8 damage. And I've got a phoenix here, which does 20 fire, but will become exhausted after 2 executions, which means that it won't be able to act for the remainder of the encounter. I've also got this lantern, applied 2 preserve for each time fire was applied since last execution. So yeah, it's just a matter of combining these abilities. So I can combine these 2 things because this ceremonial dagger applies poison, and this phylactery applies growing poison every time an allied card applies poison. So I'm just going to put those things on. Actually, you know what? I'll also put this spiderling on, and we'll go ahead and run. And this is where the auto battler comes in. So yeah, it's just a matter of watching your board configuration play out and like all the cards play off of each other and everything. And you can change the speed down here so I can speed up the combat a little bit. And then I kill those enemies and I'm good to go. So I'm going to make my way down here. This is the enchantment event. And I'm going to enchant this spiderling. And I can increase the critical multiplier, increase the critical chance, or turn cooldown reduced by 1. This already has a 2-turn cooldown. So if I do this, now it's been enchanted, it has 1 turn. So it's going to be attacking very often, which is actually going to proc that phylactery quite frequently as well. Okay, here's the alchemy system. So I'm going to mix 2 cards together. I'm going to take the, let's see, Oh, I don't really have any good options for this. Let's go ahead and mix the dagger and the phylactery together, and we'll see if we get a card with both. So yeah, I just got a phylactery that has both abilities. So it retains the phylactery ability, but then it gained the ceremonial dagger ability as well. But I could also get a ceremonial dagger that has that. So I think I would actually do the dagger instead, because this has a 2-turn cooldown and this has a 5-turn cooldown. The only difference between these two things is the turn cooldown and the tags that they have. So this is Relic Alchemical and this is Ritual Weapon. So I'm going to take this over here and let's go find another combat. Of course, the next combat is like way over there, so we'll do this. We'll go to enchant a card again. Let's enchant this one, why not? Turn cooldown reduced. Oh my gosh, boom. So now we've got 2 1-turn things. We'll go into the shop here. Can I purchase anything interesting? No, so I'm just going to leave the shop. Let's go over to this combat here. And let's see how badly we beat this thing. Look at that poison just ramping up right there. And this is currently applying 2 poison, so 3 poison every turn. And it's getting melted. Goodbye. Okay, and we can go to some boosters up here. We can get some more cards. Let's do more minion cards. Ooh, there's a Viper. I think I can use the Viper. So the Viper here deals 5 damage and applies poison. So I've got a poison build going here. Let's do another booster. Let's do Ritual. Ooh, Marionette. 4 damage per allied minion card. I have 3 minions on the board, but unfortunately, I don't have enough room for this, but I'm just going to hold on to them. And we'll go to the combat here, and we'll just go ahead and blast through this one. Get wrecked uponst. Okay, and now I'm going to go increase my board size real quick. So now, ooh, this is going to be nasty. So after 10 events, you get thrown into a boss fight automatically. And I'm going to put the Marionette here. So this Marionette, there's 3 minions on the board, which means that this is going to deal 12 damage. So let's go ahead and just go through and we'll see if we win this one. I think we should win this one, but I actually haven't gotten any health upgrades. So it's possible that I'm just going to get destroyed when this boss goes because a ton of things are going to go at once. But let's see what happens. I might actually die right here. And I did die. So my ridiculous poison build was not enough because I wasn't careful about buffing my health. But luckily, I can sacrifice cards to resurrect, which that screen needs to be updated, so don't worry about that. And there's this auto-resolve button here too. If I want to skip an encounter to the resolution, I can do that. But you can see that I still haven't won, so I can sacrifice some more cards to resurrect. And we'll see if I win this time. I don't think I'm going to. Oh, I did win. Very nice. And it's bugged because I don't have anything happening beyond the boss fight. So yeah, that's the game. Can you rotate your cards? You cannot. No. Nice. I know you're not working on it anymore, but it took me a minute to understand what each part does. A tutorial would be nice. Otherwise, I'm having a great time. I'll leave a review once I finish it. Yeah, thank you for the feedback. I appreciate that. Yeah, I think I could have done a better tutorial for sure. But I'm glad you're enjoying it despite that. Really cool concept. I like the fact that items can have funky shapes to make it hard to fit them together. Yeah, I think that's really cool. I really do like that about it too. Yes, the grid is upgradable, yep. Love to see the enchant shader in action after struggling through the smooth step docs. Yeah, seriously. So any card that has been alchemized will have this drippy top border, and any card that has been enchanted will have this sparkly bottom border here. So those are just little indicators to let you know, like at a glance, which cards you've modified and which cards are more like quote-unquote vanilla, you know? And there are also tier indicators. I never got to upgrade a card, but cards can go up in tiers, which means that their raw stats increase, and that will be indicated on the card as well with a little star. What's your idea about sound design? I can see this becoming really hectic. I'm gonna probably just go for like a dark fantasy kind of like ambient background music, and then I want to do like realistic sound effects with like gore crunchiness and like swords and clanging and stuff. But I think what I want to do is maybe pass that through some kind of like crunchification filter, so it sounds like maybe what a 90s game would sound like, where the sounds are a little bit lower fidelity, you know what I mean? So if I've got like the ambient like dark fantasy music in the background and like these really crunchy like old-fashioned sound effects, I think it's going to sound really nice. I like the resurrect part. Thank you. Yeah, still have to do work on that. You're welcome for the demo. Yeah, congrats, you beat the... I did beat the game. It only took me several resurrections, but I did it. Demos on Steam? No, I will be releasing a demo hopefully within a couple months, hopefully. One feedback is the poison text is interfering with the resurrect screen. Yeah, the resurrect screen has to be completely redone. Completely redone. Is there a family system where some items amplify related items effect, like necro items get stronger with necro or mad scientist with other mad scientist items? That is not in the game, so I'm assuming you're talking about like maybe picking a character and then having like specialty cards for that character or something. That's not in the game right now. It might be something that I'll do in the future, but I'm not sure. Hello, James. Enjoy your videos on Godot. I'm coming from JavaScript and Phaser, so my coding skills are good, but don't know how things work in Godot and how to make things easy to develop. Gotcha. Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you find the Godot videos helpful. I appreciate that. Thank you for your message. So yeah, that's the game. I still haven't come up... Well, I have a name in mind for the game, but I'm not ready to reveal it just yet. I got to think about it some more. But yeah, that's the game, and I thought that's what it was because the items glow when you hovered. No, so when the items glow on hover, that's basically just telling you which items are going to feed into this card's ability. So this says deal 4 damage per allied minion card. So when you hover over this is highlighting all the cards that affect that ability, right? If I hover over the ceremonial dagger, this says double the poison applied if an adjacent card applies poison. And so it's highlighting the adjacent cards that apply poison. So yeah, and I can do that for the enemy board too. So if I want to say, hey, this windmill reduces the remaining turns of adjacent minion cards by 1, if I want to see which minions it's affecting, I can hover over it and that will highlight those for me. Dark emo necro game, yeah, for sure. Cool game. Thanks for making my game next payday. What? Your game? So yeah, I think that will be it for the stream today. So thank you everyone for being here. Thank you all for watching. I'm glad we got that artifact event done. I'm very happy about that. And yeah, hit the notification bell to be notified when I go live next. Probably will be Monday is the next time I go live. You can also check out the links in the description below for all the ways you can support me. Remember, Gunforged is on sale for 50% off right now in the Steam Summer Sale, so pick that up if you're interested. Wishlist, I mean. Oh, got you. Okay. I'm coming for the Rat King's butt. Excellent. You're going to have to let me know how you're enjoying Gunforged on the next stream, Yeet, when I see you next, so... All right, thanks again, everyone. I appreciate your support, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.